I think that game solidified Will Levis as your starter moving forward. And only in this specific situation that the Titans are in. Because if this was, say, 2 years ago and Tannehill goes down, or even last year and Tannehill goes down, and last year you could have a conversation, but it would still be unlikely, right? But the specific situation that the Titans are in they need to be moving off of their starter anyway. And so whereas most of the time that would be kind of a hot take or a overreaction to a rookie quarterback having a good game, the Titans have the luxury of, we need to be moving off of this guy anyway. Let's throw the rookie out there and see what he can do. And then if he lights it up, then you have a great season. If he doesn't, then you maybe get a better draft pick. But Will Levis performing at a high level, especially if he can do, he doesn't have to throw 4 touchdowns every week. That's not the point. And that needs to be made very clear. If he can be consistently good, he doesn't have to be great. If he can be consistently good, then that changes the scope of not only the rest of the season for the Titans, but their options moving forward. Because everything we've talked about so far this season is with the mindset, with the predisposition of the Titans are in a hole at quarterback, and they need to figure something out. And maybe this is the answer.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're right about Tannehill not going to be great because he has probably the best rushing running back in the league and a top 10 running back. As long as his O-line can play well and get Derrick Henry some yardage, all he has to do is just give the ball to his playmakers. I mean, and I'll be honest, no one expected him to play the way he did. He was 19 for 29 for 238, 4 touchdowns, the most important stat, no turnovers. So, I mean, if he can keep up just half that and just distribute the ball to his playmakers, they'll be fine.
So, and here's the thing about we've been talking a lot about the trade deadline, and the Titans moved off of Kevin Byard and sent him to the Eagles. And so when you trade the mayor of Murfreesboro, Mr. Tennessee Titan himself, it makes you think that they're preparing to do a sell-off. And the deadline's not here, so maybe they are. But like I said, Will Levis coming in and playing at that high of a level changes the way that you see everything. And so rather than Kevin Byard being the start of a sell-off, Kevin Byard could be a huge money opener to build around Will Levis now. Just him coming in and playing at that high of a level opens so many doors that you didn't have open a week ago. And so now maybe you don't have to move off Derrick Henry. Maybe you can give him 1 or 2 more years of potentially doing something special here. And this all sounds like an overreaction. Like I said earlier, I'm not saying Will Levis is winning a Super Bowl, but you don't need to be playing Ryan Tannehill anyway, so you have the luxury of being able to talk like this. Because it's not an overreaction to say, let's roll with Levis and see what happens. That's where you're at, and that's not a bad place to be. And the Titans are all of a sudden, after 1 game of their rookie quarterback looking really good, are in a whole different situation than they were in a week ago. Because the best place to be in the NFL is a quarterback playing at a really high level on a rookie deal. Because you're not having to pay him like a top quarterback yet. And again, I'm not saying Will Levis is a top quarterback, but because he's your best option right now, you can talk in hypotheticals that way, which is why I say luxury, because you're not tied to Tannehill, and that's why he needs to be in Minnesota as soon as humanly possible. So if you look at next season, in the offseason, you can get really aggressive with the second most cap space in the league. You still hypothetically have Derrick Henry in the backfield. You still have Hopkins now. Hopkins was my number 1 trade piece a week ago. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, well, you got him for 1 more year, and Levis seems to like throwing to him, so you might as well keep him around. So let's assume for a second that in the offseason with this cap space, they solidify the secondary and they solidify the O-line, and then maybe in the draft they get a receiver to complement Hopkins and Burks, like a fast guy, which is a speed guy, which is what we've been saying the Titans need for forever. And then that guy hopefully can take D-Hop's spot, because it would maybe he comes back for a very small amount of money, but if he has 2 seasons, if the rest of his season looks like Sunday looked, and then he stacks that on another good season next year, yeah, pay him again. Tom Brady played till he was 57,
Mm-hmm.
so that doesn't mean Hopkins can't. It's two different positions, but I mean Hopkins clearly can still go out there and catch the ball. So, you would basically have a really good, Hopkins, Burks, and then this rookie that I'm speaking about hypothetically. That's a really good three-headed monster that Levis can throw to. Again, assuming we shore up the O-line and free agency and also the draft, because O-line's a tough spot in free agency because you're either getting a guy that the team that he was on, it's one of two options. The team that he was on doesn't want him, or the team that he's on can't pay him, which you've got the money to, but how much money do you really want to spend on one guy? So O-line would also be a target in the draft. I would maybe even go left tackle with your first-round pick, get a guy like Tank Dell this year in the second round, and then you're looking at a dangerous Titans team, and not like an established dangerous Titans team like they were maybe 2 years ago, but like a Lions this year. Like, oh, shoot, this team could be good.